Sandy Charles with FanRag Sports, joined by our very own scout and analyst, Bernie Pleskoff. Bernie, okay, week 4, AFL, hours and hours again of baseball. When I spoke to you last, you had wanted to get a better look at Greg Bird. Have you had a chance to see him, and what did you see?
I sure have. You know, he has not played every game that I've seen in Scottsdale, but I've seen him enough. This guy is going to be an awesome player for the Yankees. And let me just say this right off the bat. I think that the Yankees are going to be the equal of the Cubs in a couple of years due to the great depth that they have in the minor leagues. Right here in the fall league, you've got, you know, Greg Bird and Torres and Tate, and you've got a guy I'm going to talk about in a minute. This is a terrific minor league system. They did it by trades, they did it by drafts. And Greg Bird has that little bit of uppercut in his swing, just enough to get to the right field bleachers in Yankee Stadium. The fans are going to love him if he stays healthy, and they're being careful with him, Sandy. They really are, and I appreciate that, and I get it. But he's the real deal, and he no longer, for you fantasy fans out there, he no longer has rookie status. So he isn't a rookie anymore, but he is a super good prospect.
So he was hurt. He was coming off injury. So now we don't have to worry about that, and there's been no sign of that in AFL.
I haven't seen it, and I think he would not be here every day. And like I said, they're being careful with him, as you do with people with injury, and I think he will start the season with the Yankees.
Now, Blue Jays prospect Anthony Alfred, he's transitioning from football to baseball, much like Tim Tebow, who's out here in AFL. What have you seen from Anthony, and how is his skill level different, and where do you expect his ceiling to be?
These are two totally different guys with different physicality to begin with. Let's talk Tebow very quickly. Tebow is built like a football player, probably more, you know, linebacker-ish than even quarterback-ish, if that's a word. But, you know, Tebow has a different set of skills than I see in Anthony. What I see in Alfred is a very big upper body, but a very well-proportioned body, and he's got such good speed. With that speed and that defensive ability in center field, he will carve out a role. The issue is how quickly his at-bats can catch up with his defense and his speed. And I think with repetition for the next year and a half, you're going to see that good eye-hand coordination, those fast hands through the ball, the quick wrists. He will be a very good ball player. And he had a decision to make. It was either football or baseball. He started out in football, and then after he was drafted, he decided this baseball is a better career path for him, and I give him credit. But the difference between Tebow and Alfred is very obvious. One is built more as a football player. One is built more as a general athlete with terrific speed.
Now let's keep it on the Northeast, and let's take it Boston Red Sox. Michael Kope, and he was thrust into being the top pitching prospect in the Red Sox organization with the trade of Anderson Espinoza over the summer. He has some stuff to work on, and you said in your scouting report he could make it to the bigs in 2018. What does he still need to work on?
Yeah, I think he needs to be able to repeat his delivery. You know, pitch after pitch after pitch, not try to rush his body, make sure he follows through, that he finishes his pitches. Sometimes he gets a little amped up, but not often. What I've seen is pretty clean delivery here, but I think the tendency will be there to try to even increase beyond what he can throw now, which is pretty high velocity. You know, you're sitting 98. That's pretty high. Don't want to see him try to shoot for 100. Keep your eyes off the scoreboard and how you're throwing. And this is a terrific prospect. It may not even be 2018. It might be sooner than that. It's all in repeating his delivery, getting into rhythm. He's a rhythm pitcher, and he's got to be able to throw all his repertoire for strikes, which I think he can do. I think the Red Sox have a real winner in this guy.
If they did bring him up to the bigs in 2017, would they be doing him a disservice because he still has some olding and some growing to do?
You know, that's a very good question, Sandy, and all depends on the player and what the team needs at the time. If they're out of the pennant race, which I don't think they will be, I think they'll be in the hunt. I don't know that you want to, get this guy to the big league so quickly. I think you want to move him along, and he will let you know by the way he pitches, by the way he faces better competition and hitters, by the way he can repeat his delivery and throw strike one. If you can throw strike one, then you consider it. But I think a lot's going to depend upon how well he does early in the season, how well the Red Sox do in the season, and he will let them know by the way he pitches when his development is done.
Now, last time I talked to you and we talked guy flying under the radar, you said Kansas City, Josh Stamont. So you've had a couple more weeks. Anyone else under the radar that's really caught your eye?
Another Yankee there, and that's Miguel Andujar.
Okay.
I'll tell you what, the Yankees are loaded, like I said before, and this guy can play a very good third base, extremely athletic guy with power. Everything looks like it's coming easily to him. I was very surprised because I didn't know a lot about him. I love the way he moves. I love his eye-hand coordination, his agility. This is a guy that is going to hit the barrel of the bat onto the ball. Not much power yet, and at third base that could be an issue, but I think he's going to blossom. And again, we don't know what the Yankees have in store for him. His development isn't done, but for me, he's flying under the radar, as are a lot of guys here, but he's today's under the radar guy.
And you heard it here at FanRag Sports. But we have to talk a little World Series, and you did predict it. You said the Cubbies would take it. How excited, how happy is your heart?
To tell you the truth, I was born and raised in Cleveland, Ohio.
Mm-hmm.
I could not lose in this World Series. I couldn't lose. I rooted for the Indians. I think they played tremendous baseball, except for the outfield, which shows us how important defense is in the outfield and how communication is critical when you've got, the stands filled with people. You've got to be able to call the other guy out. Naquin, I don't know, because I wasn't there, if he took charge on that ball. But there were a couple hiccups in the outfield. They hurt. But the overall issue with the Cubs is the tremendous depth that they have, Sandy. It's just up and down the lineup, on the bench, in the farm system, everywhere you look. Credit to Theo Epstein and his staff for getting that depth to the big leagues and on their timetable and not letting pressure get to them to move these guys up too quickly. I think the Cubs could reign for quite a while. I like what the Indians have. Don't forget they played without Carrasco. They played without Brantley. They played without Salazar. No excuses. I didn't hear one person make an excuse. It was the look. I've been around a long time. That was the best baseball game I've ever seen. Game 7 will go down in history. 50 million people saw it, and they saw great baseball.
And they're going to continue, especially with the Indians as well, because they have Francona for a couple more years. They extended him, and so we get to see that a few more years.
Yeah, he's a terrific manager, as is Joe Madden.
Yeah.
And the game benefits when you have good teams that make it to the World Series. This was not a fluke. The Indians jumped over some good teams, the Red Sox and the Blue Jays. And look, the Cubs beat the Dodgers, This is the way it should be. The best two teams were in the World Series, and they will be. That's how the system is designed. So look out, baseball. We're just getting better and better and better, and it's more fun. And, that's what I think about when I think about it. And this is a commercial for FanRag Sports, to be very honest with you. We cover every aspect of this game from the bottom to the top every single day. And that's why I came on board with FanRag, because this is the site to be on.
Aw, you're making my heart happy.
That's good. That's good.
For Bernie Pleskoff, I'm Sandy Charles with FanRag Sports.